The biblical story of Israel begins with a promise, a land given by God. But even the Bible itself admits something most people overlook. The land was not empty. Before Israel entered Canaan, the land was already inhabited by multiple peoples. The Rephaim, the Horites, the Emim, the Zamzummim, and the Canaanites. These were not wandering tribes or temporary settlers. They occupied cities, controlled regions, and defended territory. Yet the biblical narrative moves past them quickly. There are no detailed histories, no cultural descriptions, no explanations of how advanced they were. They are simply removed from focus. Modern archaeology tells a different story. Across the Levant, archaeologists have uncovered fortified cities dating back hundreds, sometimes thousands, of years before Israelite settlement. These cities had stone walls, planned streets, storage systems, and evidence of long-distance trade. This land was already organized, already developed, already civilized. Recognizing this changes everything, because it means Israel did not enter an empty land. It entered a land filled with existing civilizations. Among the peoples mentioned briefly in the Bible, none are more mysterious than the Rephaim. They are often translated as giants, a word that instantly removes them from serious history and places them into myth. But in the ancient world, words like giant often referred to status, not size, power, authority, ancient lineage. The Bible associates the Rephaim with specific territories and even names one of their kings, Og of Bashan. Og ruled over a fortified kingdom with cities and defenses. This detail matters, because archaeology confirms that the Bashan region contains massive stone structures, dolmens, megaliths, and fortified settlements that required advanced organization to build. These were not the works of monsters. They were the works of rulers. Turning powerful civilizations into legends makes them easier to erase. Once labeled as myth, they no longer need to be remembered. The Bible frequently portrays the Canaanites as corrupt and morally inferior. But archaeology paints a far more complex picture. Canaanite cities had writing systems, temples, administrative centers, and international trade connections with Egypt and Mesopotamia. They were not primitive. They were one of the most advanced cultures in the region. Even more uncomfortable is this truth. Much of early Hebrew culture, including language elements and alphabetic writing, evolved from Canaanite foundations. This means Israel did not develop in isolation. It inherited, adapted, and absorbed from the civilization it replaced. But this complexity is largely absent from the biblical narrative. Why? Because acknowledging cultural inheritance weakens claims of total separation and divine exclusivity. Simplifying history made identity stronger. Early Jewish texts describe a world very different from the one most people know today. Books like Enoch speak of the Nephilim and the Watchers, beings who interacted with humanity and influenced early civilizations. These texts were widely read in ancient times. Later, they were excluded from the biblical canon, not because they were unknown, but because they complicated theology. A world filled with multiple powerful beings, ancient rulers, and shared authority did not support a centralized narrative. So the record was cleaned. What remained was a simpler story, easier to teach, easier to contribute. History is not erased randomly. It is erased when it threatens power. Removing civilizations makes conquest appear inevitable. Simplifying narratives strengthens authority. Silence creates certainty. This pattern is not unique to the Bible. Every empire edits its past. The difference is that archaeology is now reopening what was closed. Stone foundations cannot be rewritten. The civilizations removed from Scripture were not completely destroyed. They were buried, physically beneath the earth, and narratively beneath belief. Every excavation forces us to rethink certainty. The question is no longer whether these civilizations existed. The real question is, who decided they no longer mattered?